And welcome to episode 4 of the Dawgs. Let's kick this thing off.
Welcome to the Dawgs Podcast with your hosts Blake Renneker, Zach Kopp, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Before we get this episode started, kind of want to address some issues we're having with YouTube. If you are
with Facebook.
Yeah, with Facebook, not with YouTube. If you're trying to watch this video or any of our videos through Facebook by clicking on the link and it pops up restricted, please know that nothing we're saying is restricted. This is a Facebook problem. If you run into that issue, just go straight to YouTube, search the Dawgs Podcast. We're like the third option that pops up, and then you can find all of our videos there. You heard that right. We're the third option that shows up already. So, yeah.
It's because we are the Dawgs.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we couldn't do that without you guys, so thanks. So if hopefully Facebook gets those issues figured out, we're going to try to see what we can figure out on our end. We didn't realize the problem until late this week. We'll try to get it fixed, but if you are having issues, just go straight to YouTube, or you can check us out on Apple, Spotify, anything like that. Hey guys, good to see you. Everybody looking a little sunburnt. Got outside a little bit this weekend. I'm feeling a little crispy.
Time of year.
I think we got a fun episode lined up today. We're going to do, hopefully some friendly banter. Some of these hot takes that we came up with for the Browns. Before we get going into these, though, everybody's favorite Cleveland troll came out a couple weeks ago, Colin Cowherd, saying Baker is just Case Keenum, but with a stronger arm. Now, I tend not to listen to Colin Cowherd about what he says about the Browns because he's just the world's biggest hater, but I feel like this needed addressed by the Dawgs because it's just disrespectful.
And he loves Sam Darnold. I mean, you knock on Baker, but you love Sam Darnold.
I've watched Sam Darnold be pedestrian since college.
Yeah.
And I don't
I don't see anything impressive there. I mean, hey, being compared to Case Keenum, I'm just going to say it. There are worse people to be compared to.
Yes. Yeah.
Keenum's a respectable quarterback. Mm-hmm. He always has been.
Yeah, we talked about that in the free agents. I think he, in the free agency episode, how we got him. I think his stats, he's like 63% completion percentage or something like that for his career. Well, last year, that was top 10 quarterback in the NFL if you have 63%. So, I mean, if you're saying Baker's going to be like that, I'd take it.
Yeah, and I also think Baker's way better than – Case Keenum went undrafted. Baker Mayfield went number 1 overall. John Dorsey isn't a football idiot. He might have hired Freddie Kitchens, but, he knows how to evaluate talent. This guy is not Case Keenum. I mean, give me a break, Colin. And say by some disaster, Baker Mayfield only is ever as good as Case Keenum. Well, you can win a Super Bowl with that.
Yeah. Sure.
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he did. And, I mean, Case Keenum's a good floor, I think, for Baker. I mean, if that's as bad as he ever gets or plays, cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's awesome. But I think his ceiling is so much higher.
I think he's way more athletic.
Yep.
Definitely a stronger arm. Mm-hmm. And I think he's more – I know Case Keenum threw 63%, but Baker's strongest attribute is his accuracy, putting it into tight windows. Stuff. He's way more accurate.
Yeah, if people are going to knock on that accuracy from last year and the interceptions and everything, you got to look at the coaching, the play calling, the offensive line personnel. I mean, it was just a recipe for disaster last year. It really was. Baker, they didn't give him much of a shot to succeed.
Yep. And the Herd kind of twisted it too.
Oh, yeah.
Factory of Sadness did like a really, really good article, and they basically said, so they said their stats, they compared them 2017 to 2019. Zach, where was Baker at in 2017?
Playing for Oklahoma.
Absolutely. Case Keenum had his best year 2017. So I feel like if that's the intro to your whole argument on this thing, it's so stupid. It's horrible. And then if you really take those years out, obviously Baker, he's only on a 2-year sample.
Yep.
If you take that 2017 year out, Case Keenum, kind of pedestrian. I mean, they're kind of backup numbers, like accurate. No risks, he doesn't make mistakes, but I think, the bigger upside is Baker, obviously.
Let's not forget that Baker's the guy who broke the rookie touchdown record for quarterbacks, and he had Hugh Jackson as his head coach for part of that season.
And didn't play the first 2 games.
Exactly.
And Hugh Jackson, Todd Haley were just like fighting for half the season.
That doesn't happen by accident. You know what I mean? Like that's talent shining through.
Yeah. And like Justin said, I think I kind of saw some of the same numbers as what you saw. Yeah, and then when you compared the numbers, it looked like, Case Keenum's had better but he played that full season, his best season as a quarterback.
Yep.
In 2017, and not the end. Baker's first 2 years, Keenum was in the league for 4 years when 2017 was his fourth season. And if you take that out in the last 2 seasons for Keenum, he had 5 wins, 5 wins, I think, and Baker has 12.
Yep.
Or 7 wins, Baker has 12. That's what it was.
And Baker
7
plays
to
for the
12.
Browns, and he has more
Right.
wins. Coming off, 1-31 or something?
Yeah.
And Baker takes over, leads us to 7-8-1, and then 6-10. I mean, obviously, that's not what we want. It's a far cry from 0-16 and 1-15.
Yeah, but when you look at the situations with the coaching and just all the garbage, man,
Fourth
it's
head
actually
coach.
pretty impressive that he's been able to do what he's been able to do.
Yeah. Imagine if he doesn't come in last year overweight.
Yeah.
He just had to go and get married.
Yeah, and all those commercials too. I mean, I think
Oh,
he
my
just.
gosh.
Hulu.
I think it's time
Hulu
this year
Sports.
he's going to come in a little more focused.
I do think, Do I think Baker's blameless for last year? No, but I don't think I think he a small portion of the blame.
Yeah, and I mean, everybody out there, just quit listening to Colin. Listen to the Dogs.
Yes. Yeah.
We'll set it straight.
Hey, here's the thing. What's another part of this is he says Baker's a QB that has to have everything perfect around him to be successful. He can't handle any adversity.
Hey, I got a hot take. Water's wet.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Like, what quarterback in this league just is out there thriving with dumpster fire around him? None.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember like Peyton Manning's first year, or like some of these
Ooh, woof.
amazing quarterbacks that will play golf every day and have a gold jacket? Yeah, their first 2 years are terrible.
Yeah.
No
The guy who
weapons.
was terrible until his 4th year, Drew Brees.
Yeah,
Drew Brees
I
was
saw
awful.
that too. Horrible.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
terrible his first 3 years, and all of a sudden, Drew Brees he's still playing.
Yeah, and so maybe one quarterback in my lifetime that doesn't have great around him and has been successful, Tom Brady, and he played for the best football coach of all time. So even when he didn't have the greatest players around him, he was still in the best structure, the best scheme, the best coaches. Baker hasn't had any of that, and he's still been decently successful.
Yeah.
He should have been Rookie of the Year.
Should have been. Yeah, and that's the thing, too, with, like, Brady. The Patriots system, it's so smart. I mean, they'll take guys, and it seems like it's a lot of guys the Browns just cast away, right? And then Belichick's like, come here. I know exactly what you're good at, and I'm going to put you in this position, and you're going to be great on the field, and it just ends up happening because they kind of just know how to use people the right way.
I just want to know what quarterbacks Collins got on his list of that are just surrounded by trash, but they're putting up Hall of Fame numbers. I just want to know who these quarterbacks are.
How's Aaron Rodgers look with one receiver?
Yeah. Pedestrian.
Yeah, it's not the same. And like I think we were talking before the show, Blake, and you said, and people are starting to say maybe Rodgers isn't that great of a quarterback. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He just has a 17-year-old coach, no wide receivers, Like,
Yeah, and instead of drafting somebody for him to throw the ball to, they drafted his replacement. Like, what?
Backup.
and then
I
his
mean-
running backs replacement.
I'd say, as bad as it is to be a Browns fan sometimes and irritating, I would lose it if I was a Packers fan this year.
Yep.
That was
Especially because
What
you're
are they
part
doing?
owner of the team if you're a Packers fan, and they're just doing that kind of draft.
yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, the other thing I kind of like, and well, Colin came out. I don't like this, but came out and this was one of his quotes saying he has questionable judgment. He's cocky, a good time guy, high risk, high reward factor. He said he should be the quarterback for a team like the Raiders, like he fits in Vegas. That's what Colin says. Baker's never been in trouble really ever. I mean, he had one little scandal.
I've seen that video, man.
Supposedly one little scandal, but really to say he's got questionable judgment, I don't see that at all.
Now, like when you refer to biggest scandal, are you talking about Oklahoma or are you talking about notable
Cheesecake
Cleveland?
Factory.
Yeah, notable Cleveland restaurants.
I was thinking notable Cleveland restaurants.
That's not what I was even thinking of. Okay, but
So he's got two questionable
two
things.
questionables. But even then, those two have never gotten along from pre-draft to this point. They have never seen, and that's part of the. I mean, both of them fire back and forth, and that's just part of their deal.
Colin does it all the time, though. He just picks one person that everybody likes, and then he goes against. That way,
LeBron
if he's right, then he looks like a genius, and if he's wrong, he can be like, oh, well, this guy just did what he was supposed to do.
Right. How many times does Colin pick on somebody and they just you never hear about it, and then Colin moves on? Baker's like, no, hold on a second.
Yep.
Like, I'm firing back because that's the kind of guy he is.
Well, Colin's doing it again. Joe Burrow. I don't know if you guys – he's all down on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's going to struggle. He's awful. He's not that good. He's only surrounded by NFL talent. I don't know if Joe Burrow's going to be good, but it's like the Baker thing all over again. Colin can't do a show without talking bad about Joe Burrow. It's just what Colin Cowherd does.
And I'd be completely fine on the record if Joe Burrow is garbage. Completely fine. Just so we can get that out of the way. If he's trash, absolutely. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Hey, okay with that.
Yeah. Let's keep that 2 wins thing going for a while.
Well, hey.
Well, real quick, on another piece of news, I know we talked about Jadeveon Clowney on that Zoom call we had last week. So did you guys see they came out and actually said what the numbers were?
I did see that.
Did you see that?
No.
I just wanted to throw it out here real quick for
Yeah.
everybody listening, watching. So apparently he's asking for about $20 million a year, and at the base they said the Browns are offering 12.
Mm-hmm.
So just to throw the numbers out there to see that it's not like we were offering him like 18 or 19. We were a little bit lower than what he's looking for.
Yep.
And I mean, if you're in a position where you can go out and demand $20 million a year and somebody offers you 12, I mean, I guess I can't fault Jadeveon for saying, I'll hang back for a little bit and see if I can get what I think I'm worth.
And this is best offer.
Yeah, and
That's the bad thing.
Why sign with a team right now anyway? I mean, there's no.
Well, that's the thing too. And if it's the Browns, I mean, yes, there's that stigma. I mean, and it's just
here's what's
it's warranted.
crazy though is his best offer was 12, and he somehow thinks he's worth 20.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think that. Yeah. Are we gonna pay one guy anywhere close? I know we offered him 12. I could see us probably going a little higher. They said, 14, he's there for multiple years or something. But we just let Schobert and Kirksey go, and we could have had them both for $21 million. So that is I don't know.
Well,
saga continues.
Yeah. I guess tune back in next week when we see if Jadeveon Clowney turned down another offer. I say we move on to some of our hot takes. It's good to get Bash and Colin out of the way. It's one of my favorite things to do. So we came up with a list of some hot takes for you guys. We also got a couple fans' hot takes off Facebook. So thanks to everybody who's commenting on the posts. That was pretty fun. We got some good dialogue going. Put a couple in the show today. So let's just get this thing going with some of these hot takes. Justin, I think this first one was yours.
Yeah, so I kind of threw it out to these guys. Wide receiver-wise, who has a bigger year, OBJ or Jarvis Landry?
What's your hot take, bud?
I think Jarvis Landry is going to have a bigger year impact-wise, whether it's yards, touchdowns, than OBJ.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I actually think
explain.
I think Jarvis could be maybe second or third in the team in catches, but not or in yards, not in catches, not in touchdowns. I think Odell, if you look, I went and looked at the Minnesota offense last year with Stefanski calling plays. Odell is our Stephon Diggs. He's our deep threat. Okay, Stephon Diggs last year only had 63 catches. So even though he had 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns, he didn't catch anywhere close to 100 balls. So our number one receiver, it's going to be a very opportunistic passing game. Kirk Cousins only threw the ball 20, 25 times a game. He'd take, 3-4 shots, but they were calculated shots. So I don't even see Odell having 90 catches, 100 catches. I see him having a Stephon Diggs type year, maybe 60 to 75 catches, 1,200 yards, something like that. Mm-hmm. Second leading receiver for the Vikings last year, Dalvin Cook. So I don't see Jarvis is very good. I love Jarvis, but Odell's the more talented player. And Odell's the deep threat. I think all the tight ends we got, and I think the running back is going to cut into Jarvis's production.
Yeah, I think that last year was such a fluke with these. I mean, the play calling was horrendous. I mean, every game I was nauseous just watching as Freddie walked around clueless. And, I think that Odell was just, he's on a new team, first of all. When receivers switch teams, they do struggle, typically to begin with, picking up everything that's new. And I don't think anybody picked it up last year.
No.
And so I think Jarvis was just kind of flying under the radar, kind of cleaning up the trash, and just ended up being the top receiver on the team. But I don't think it happens again. Sorry, Justin.
No. So what my argument will be, I agree with Blake. This is going to be very, very low opportunity as far as for the passing game. Completely agree there. But as athletic and as freak talented as OBJ is, he's going to see double coverage. And I just see Landry getting those opportunities. And like you said, he had a great year last year. I think 83 catches, 1,100 yards, something around that. I'm not even sure that OBJ is on the team at the end of the year. This might be another hot take right here. And I'll just be,
I'm thinking the same thing.
So he does not.
Sources.
All right, so I think we're switching to this hot take.
Well, I'm not, no sources. This is just,
gut.
the guy that, has a man cave in his basement. I'm just saying, I don't see him fitting our system. And like with Diggs, look at where Diggs is at right now. How's he doing in Minnesota? He's not in Minnesota.
He lasted the year. He had a career year. Wasn't he just what did they do? Trade him or?
Yeah, to Buffalo.
And to me, that's insane. Who are they going to throw to now?
Well, okay, so hold on. Let's back up for just 1 second. Okay, because something that I think kind of under the radar in Stefanski's system, if we go back to not last season, the year before. Okay, so Stefanski's still there. Okay, still have Kirk Cousins. There's some guy named Adam Thielen that was pretty good as a slot wide receiver. Okay, last year he was hurt. So stats obviously are going to sway a little bit because you're missing Adam Thielen, who had 1,400 yards receiving and 9 touchdowns in 2018.
Not the same offensive coordinator, though. Thielen still played 10 games last year. He only had 30 catches.
Yeah,
so
I'm just saying.
He only averaged 3 catches a game.
I'm with Justin.
He only had 418 yards last year in 10 games, 30 catches.
Yeah, but he's hurt all year.
Stefanski,
trust me, my fantasy team hurt last year. So
Stefanski didn't call plays 2 years ago for the Vikings. He just called last year.
I'm still saying I'm with Jarvis. I think Jarvis.
All right. Well, I'm going to back Blake just to say though, from the Vikings standpoint, I never saw a huge talent disparity between Thielen and Diggs. Like it was always who's 1 and who's 2. Is it 1A, 1B? Odell's clearly a better talent than Jarvis. I mean, Jarvis is a great receiver. Don't get me wrong. But
I'll give you that.
Odell is Odell.
Odell only has 1 season under 1,000 yards, and it was 2017 when he was hurt. He broke his ankle, didn't hardly play at all. Last year, 1,035. The year before, 1,052. Before that, he never had under 1,300 yards. I just don't see. And like I said, he might not catch 100 balls. He's gonna have 1,300 yards receiving. Because we're going to scheme him open. Freddie could not scheme anybody open. He didn't even know what a scheme was.
Right.
We're going to be running dive, counter, play action, boot, and Odell's going to run a double move down the sideline and be wide open. Jarvis is going to be running right around in the middle. He's not a deep threat. We used him as a deep threat his first year in Cleveland because we didn't have one, but we have one now. And we have 3 tight ends on the roster that are going to cut into slot receivers' production. That's my take. I think Chubb is going to catch 30 to 40 balls out of the backfield. So we're not going to throw the ball that much.
No, I mean, for me, I hope we don't have to throw the ball that much. I'm fine with giving Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt the ball 30, 40 times a game.
Yep. Control the clock.
Yeah.
So
to be continued.
Yeah.
This Odell not making it through the season thing.
Hey, I'm just saying, okay, if it's
my
me,
blood pressure just went up.
If it's me, all right, and I'm the coach, a new coach that I want to be here in Cleveland for a long time. If Odell starts chirping,
but he never does. That's a straight.
Oh, don't tell me that Odell doesn't start chirping.
That's straight media thing.
Who watched the Sun on Sunday last year of him just berating Freddie Kitchens on the
So
sideline?
did Jarvis.
That was so
right.
Jarvis does it. He's a great leader in the locker room.
It was contagious.
Odell does it, and it's God,
Odell's
he's such a
hitting
distraction.
Go to New York. I mean, he was the same guy in New York.
He had Pat Shurmur as a coach and Ben McAdoo.
I'm just saying that if I'm a coach and Odell starts chirping, you almost have to. Freddie didn't set an example at all. It was like, oh, yeah, Freddie's it's all right. We have that kind of relationship. If it's me as a coach, you don't talk to me that way.
But Odell wasn't the only one chirping.
Well, it's Freddie Kitchens. I'm saying it's different. If Odell's the only one chirping,
by all accounts,
don't be surprised.
By all accounts, Odell, since coming to Cleveland, has been like a model citizen. He could have blown up last year how bad the Browns were.
Could have.
Blown up.
At times he did.
You never heard him. Even after the games, it was, we just got to get better as a team. I just got to do my part. He played through injury all year. I think you watch ESPN, Odell's a terrible person. If you just like watch the Browns, you never hear from him.
Who's more likely to be traded though, Jarvis or Odell? I think Odell.
I don't think either one of them.
We'll
It's
see.
a lot of.
I hope not. I hope
me too.
not.
I hope not too. But I mean,
But I could see it. I wouldn't be surprised. It's Cleveland.
I think we got to go down to hot take 7 here, which was mine while this conversation's going on before you guys get all fired up again about these two dudes. Is that cool?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So I said one of my hot takes was after 4 games, the Browns are going to be such a high volume running team that Odell is going to lash out and that he will end up getting benched during that 5th game at some point.
So last year, Thielen and Diggs both complaining about Vikings offense after the first couple games. Stefanski's first year calling plays. Did he bench one of them? No, he adjusted his play calling. He learned that, hey, maybe I do need to incorporate these skill guys into my offense. Maybe I need to adapt my play calling. They opened it up a little. Trust me, I have Kirk Cousins on my fantasy. The first couple of weeks, I was like, I got to find a quarterback who's going to throw the ball more than 10 times a game. Come week 4, him and Diggs almost took me to what should have been a championship.
Now, the only difference, though, and I hear what you're saying, but you're saying last year he was the offensive coordinator and he, found a way to incorporate everything and kind of spruce things up a bit for that offense. But this time he's the head coach.
Yeah, but the Vikings head coach is Zimmer. He's way more old school, way more totalitarian.
Yeah, well, and then now I know I'm going to change my tune a little bit, but then I throw it over to what Zach said, or I think it was just, either way, Diggs isn't there now.
yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
He lasted the season.
He did last the season. But that wasn't Stefanski's call. That was so I don't know. I don't know what Stefanski's temperament will be for if something like this were to happen.
I also don't. What did they get for Diggs?
First round pick.
Yeah.
So okay, they trade.
It's pretty good. I would take a first round pick.
Yeah. Okay, and was he about to be a free agent or anything?
I think he was another year or so away.
So it was like either pay this guy more than what we want or trade him, and they got a first round pick. I don't think they traded him because they thought he was a distraction. I think they were looking at their future going, we're either going to lose this guy or we got to try to get a lot. And for some reason, the Bills threw a first-round pick at him.
Well, and they replaced him with Justin Jefferson, too. So I think they're going to be okay as far as receiving goes because they still have Thielen. They still have their tight ends, Rudolph and Smith Jr. They've got Cook.
Yeah.
So they'll be okay.
Okay, so I'll throw a scenario out there here off of this question. All right, so after 4 games, you're 4-0, and Odell has 150 yards receiving after 4 games. And he's got he's got under 10 catches or something like that after 4 games. And he's complaining. You're 4-0. What are you saying to him?
I don't think
about
he
the
complains.
team, man. It's about the team.
All he ever says is it's all about winning. All he wants to do is win. So until I see the Browns be 4-0 and him start complaining, I'm not going to play your hypothetical game.
I'm just saying.
Can we just stop it until we see the Browns be 4-0?
Yeah.
That means they'd have to win the first game of the season,
I've
which
never
hasn't
seen that in
happened
my
in a while.
life. I haven't seen that in my entire life.
And we have
nice.
And I'm
yeah.
old.
Baltimore in week 1.
But yeah, I don't think he'll complain because I've never seen the Giants start 4-0. First of all, if we start 4-0, Odell doesn't only have 150 yards receiving. He's going to be a bigger part of the offense than that.
Maybe Jarvis has the 300 yards after the first 4 weeks.
No, we're not only going to, in the first 4 games, we're not going to throw for 300 yards total in 4 games.
Never know with this system. Chubb might run all over.
He is going to run all over, but we're still going to throw the ball 20 to 25 times a game.
We'll see.
And then
We'll see.
All right. Well, man, we're all fired up. This is fun.
All right.
Who's up next? Who wants to pick one here? What do you guys? I don't think I contributed any to this list. So
Yeah, I'm just here to argue.
yeah.
Fire the next one off, man. Go ahead, fire the next one off.
Okay. So let me pick my favorite one here. All right. I lied. I did offer up this one. What was the more, and I put in quotation marks here,
Boy.
disappointing season? Not worst season, disappointing season. The 0-16 season or last year's 6-10, not 7-9 season.
Guys, I'm going to take care of this one personally on a
Nail
personal
it.
level. So, me and Blake Reniker, we got into a small disagreement the other day about this. This is what started this whole thing. For me, it's the 0-16 season, and I heard, we had multiple people saying, 6-10, it was so disappointing, so many things. I'm just going to hit you guys with some just facts real quick. And it'll absolutely make you sick to your stomach and remind you the legacy that we have laid down as Browns fans. So we have the 0-16 season. We were the second team to go 0-16. The other one was the Detroit Lions in 2008. 17 straight division loss streak at the end of that year. So we're losing to Pittsburgh every year, who we hate. We're losing to Baltimore every year that we used to be, and they got a Super Bowl out of it. We're losing to Cincinnati twice a year, and they're literally garbage. So we got that. We extended our road losing streak to 21 games. So even when we leave Cleveland to go play somebody, we're terrible and we lose. We failed to win a home game for the first time since 1999, which was also an atrocious year. I can't believe that we even won a home game in our first year back with the team that we put together. And then we are the only NFL franchise with multiple 15 or more loss seasons. 15 or more losses in a season.
Right.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you really trying to say that last year was worse than that?
Yeah. So all I hear is that all that's just the Browns' history.
We beat Baltimore last year. We never did that.
For my whole life, that's just Browns' history.
Oh.
You know, here's a huge difference between the 0-16 season and last year's 6-10 season. Expectations.
Amen.
Yeah,
Expectations.
right. I expect them to be good every year. I'm a Browns fan. You are
After
crazy.
1-15, you thought they were going to be good.
We coming off of
Go to
one
the
in
Super Bowl.
Here's the thing: we went 1-15, and then I remember coming into the 0-16 season, and our roster was worse, and our schedule was tougher. I remember saying, "Guys, I don't know if we're going to win any games. Like teams don't usually go 0-16, but the Browns have a very real shot going 0-16." And then all we did was just do what I thought we were going to do. So, and I remember by the end of that season, I was like, when Corey Coleman dropped that, part of me died, and part of me was like, "That's super."
So
funny.
you mean it was disappointing?
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
Like to me, we were picked to go. We were the fourth best odds to go to the Super Bowl preseason last year.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you didn't hear anybody talk about after we went 1-15. Nobody said those two words Super Bowl at all.
Right.
But is that Browns fans being Browns fans?
It wasn't just Browns fans.
no.
You heard people across the country talking about, "Oh, look at the Browns roster on
Theo
paper. They
Riddick
got
was-
all the talent."
Yeah.
Theo
roster was
Riddick on
amazing.
ESPN picked us to go 12-4.
He was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Real
lot of
wrong.
people. So to me, I didn't say what was the worst. Obviously, 0-16 is the worst season. 6-10 is more disappointing.
I
Oh
will
my
say,
God.
I don't know. They're both.
We had a
really
parade because we were so bad.
Yeah,
There was no parade last year.
Only bright spot was we got the number 1 pick. We got Baker that next year. That was the only good thing about being 0-16.
I mean,
I'm with Blake. I've never, and I'll be real with you guys, I've never had higher expectations, more hope, more. I was so pumped for that season last year coming in. And you want to talk about disappointing for me personally? Oh my gosh, I was torn down. That's honestly, this offseason has been kind of depressing for me because I'm like,
try not to get too high.
yeah, I'm not going to get excited about stuff like I normally do because I was so let down last year. It was
But that's being a
terrible.
Browns fan. The highs are high when you get one win in the season. You know that's. Well, I remember like literally as a Browns fan, if we beat the Steelers, and that was our only win, that was the celebration. I would literally be losing my mind. We beat the Steelers. They're going to the Super Bowl. We beat them though. That was our only win.
Yeah, but so which means 0-16. If you're happy
Worse
with
than
your
that.
one win against the Steelers and you're like awesome, then 0-16 is not out of the realm of possibility. You were not expecting only a one win against the Steelers last year. We were predicting sweep the AFC. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're at least hosting a playoff game. All this stuff, and we didn't even come. I remember after the first quarter of the Titans games, I just thought, "Uh-oh.
We're in trouble." Yeah, we had
We had an
19 penalties
entire
already.
offseason, and this is how we're prepared to come out and play a
Dude, I
football
will
game."
never forget that. I was sitting there and we went right down the field. Right, I mean, like butter, baby. Right down the field, scored a touchdown. And we missed the extra point. And I sat there and said,
Uh-oh.
That ain't good.
That's not the first time that's happened to me in my life.
Yeah, super undisciplined last year, and that to me, that's why it's more disappointing. The 0-16 season, it sucked. You don't ever want to lose all your games, but every year you have fake Cleveland Browns optimism. Every year I'm like, can't wait for this season. Browns might actually be decent, but deep down, we're winning 4 games.
Yeah.
Okay. Last year, there was none of that. It was, no, we're legit Super Bowl contenders. You're not going to tell me that we're not at least. We went 7-8-1 the year before, and we improved our roster and got rid of Hugh Jackson. I thought there's no way we win less games. Baker coming back in his second year. We just added Odell. 10 games was the minimum that I thought we were going to win, the bare minimum. And we only win 6. And even the games we won, they were like atrocious to watch. That Jets game.
Oh,
The Jets game, I watched that game and was just like, man, we suck.
we won that game.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it.
We won that game, and I was like, man, we suck. Everybody was pumped because Odell had that 89-yard touchdown, and it was just Odell and Baker.
Being athletic.
There was
Yeah.
nothing good about that game at all except for the win at the end of it.
Yeah.
So, all right, I want to throw just a quick shout out to the smartest Browns fan apparently I know in my life, and that's my dad. Because we got together, we watched that Titans game last year. I mean, I had my Baker jersey on. I had Browns gear all over the place. I was so jacked. I'm like high on Browns, right? I'm sitting there, and he's just on the couch, just like, all right, let's go. I'm like, Dad, how can you not be excited for this? This is going to be amazing. Like, this team is awesome. And he looks at me and he says, yeah, we'll see. Yeah. And I'm like, you're nuts. You're nuts. That
he's
game
lived
ended,
through it
and he
all.
looked at me and he just said, told you. Yeah. So shout out to him. He knew what he was talking about, and it's got me kind of a little more grounded with my expectations. I'm trying to be a little more of an honest Browns fan.
Yeah.
Well, hey, with that, that's a good segue on accident. One of these takes is Cleveland puts their demons behind them, makes the playoffs for the first time since 2002. We just talked about how there's cautious optimism, fake optimism. Do we make the playoffs this year?
You know we're going to the playoffs this year, guys. You know we're going to the playoffs. So I look at the schedule. The first half's tough, right? First half is very tough. I see them going 9-7, 10-6, probably more 10-6 with the addition of the third wild card spot. Well, the extra wild card spot. I see this as being a possibility. And then also our second half, we got Jags, Giants, Jets, garbage, trash, dumpster fire. Now, here's the thing. Those should be wins, but they're going to be wins, guys. Come on now. We're going to go to the playoffs. Let's do this.
I'm going to say no.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to say no because of what I just talked about and what I learned the hard way last year was I am not predicting this team ever. I don't care who the coach is, quarterback, players, nothing. I'm not predicting them to do anything great until they do it. I'm done.
Man, it's hard for me to to say that. I see where you're coming
I've been
from.
burnt, man.
Yeah, I remember when we let go of Dorsey this year. I was like, I got to find a new team to root for, and here I am saying Browns are going to the playoffs. I think I'm right with Justin. I see. Okay, obviously this depends on us playing up to our abilities. We can't come out and be like we're coached by Freddie Kitchens.
You got to have a good start to the year, too. How many times are we like, oh, well, if we win the next 6 of the next
6 in a
8,
row.
we'll get in.
Yeah, all we have to do is go on a 12-game win streak, and
Yeah.
we're going to the Super Bowl. If there's no injuries, everybody buys in. We play the way that we're capable of playing, that I think we're capable of playing. I see 9-7 to 10-6. To me, especially years past, 9-7, 10-6 might not get you in the playoffs, but they added that extra spot.
Yeah.
So I see a playoff berth for the Browns.
8-8.
8-8.
8-8, no
now.
playoff.
Okay.
No playoffs.
I'll go 9-7. I think we do make the playoffs. I think we make the playoffs for sure. I think we win week 1. We're going to make the playoffs.
I don't know if we win that game. I don't have them
That's-
winning that game.
That is like one of my biggest games of the year. And normally you have a game like week 8, week 9, you're like, all right, if they can get to this point, they have this record, they win this game, I can see them doing it. I think week 1 is one of those games of big division game. You're only going to get to play Baltimore one more time. And I think you got to try to win. Obviously, your goal is to win your division, but
Right.
you can't lose to Baltimore there and already be behind. And then now you're like, oh, well, hopefully Pittsburgh beats them.
I can tell you right now, jumping on your point, not that game, but the next week. We have the Thursday night home opener against Cincinnati. We lose that game.
Can you imagine we go
So-
0-2 to start the year?
It's
In both AFC.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can't
North
imagine
games.
it because
Yeah,
it
I've seen
happens
it,
every
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
if we lose that game
Were you
at
alive
home,
last year?
yeah,
Yeah.
I could see. And now, obviously, as a Browns, I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm so dumb when it comes to, like, we could literally be absolute garbage and we'd have 10 losses. And I'm like, okay, guys, 1 o'clock. Here we go. Let's get it.
Listen, it's not just the Browns. Justin, we were down 3-1 to the Warriors in 2016. Justin says, we're coming back to win the title.
Hey,
He was right.
I was right.
Yeah.
I also said that the next year after
like
that.
And the year after that.
They called me a prophet. My uncle Mark actually told me, he said, hey, Cavs are winning the finals this year. Indians are going to win the World Series. And I was like, oh, man. And then he told me Browns are going 8-8. And he was real wrong about the Browns because they're absolute garbage. Shout out to you, you know. But he was real close. He was close on the Indians. You know, that one's tough too, but, you know.
I'm going to kind of piggyback off a game I think is important here. I think the last game of the year, you got the Steelers at home. I think that could have huge implications, especially, I don't know, a lot of things I'm saying Steelers are like in the Super Bowl bubble.
I just don't see it. I know Big Ben's back.
Yeah, but we don't even – I think Big Ben's easily Hall of Famer, one of the best quarterbacks
Oh,
ever.
I get that too, but not – I don't know at this point in his career and he doesn't have Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown when he was there and he was healthy.
Yeah, like –
You're missing
That
two.
Steelers team made a push for the playoffs last year with, and I'll use some of your wordage, garbage for running backs, dumpster fire receiver.
Yeah.
And, well, the dumpster fire was quarterback. Let's put it.
yeah.
But
Right.
dumpster fire was big time quarterback play.
But I mean, on defense and running game alone, and it was just, hey, who's healthy?
But
Get in there and run the ball, and
only
they did
thing
it.
They added this year is Big Ben. They drafted that guy out of Notre Dame, right?
Receiver out of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He's tight end slot, but nobody knows what he's going to be like.
I think their big things, their defense is
They're-
stupid strong.
Yeah, it always is.
And
So good.
And in this division, like, and we've seen that in years past, even when the Browns were terrible. Like your division games, we'd keep it close for at least 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden, you know, we throw a late interception, we lose by 2 touchdowns. But in this division, I don't care how bad the Steelers might be or might be playing or how bad Cincinnati is. Almost every game's always close. Doesn't matter who's playing who. I mean, Baltimore should kill Cincinnati last year, and last year Cincy would hang with them. I mean, it's just
Yeah, and you notice that when you watch division games with other teams too,
Yeah.
other divisions. It's you never know.
right,
Crazy things happen. Terrible teams. Miami will beat the Patriots.
right. Yeah,
Don't expect that to happen, but there you go.
I just think if you want to make a leap, I think you need to beat Pittsburgh twice this year and you need to beat the Bengals twice.
I'm hoping that
And then try to split with the Ravens.
If they don't beat the Bengals twice, they're not going to the playoffs.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Oh,
Completely. You have to beat them twice.
Don't go to any Bengals games this year then.
Yeah.
Well, should I explain that?
Yeah.
So I've been to 21 Browns games in my life. I have a personal record of 0-21. I've never seen the Browns win. I actually,
21.
Wow.
Last year I drove to Cincinnati with my family for the last game of the year, and we lost to that team.
To the worst team
My
in
family
football.
almost kicked me out of Cincinnati before the game even started because nobody knew. It's like my dark secret. I've never seen them win, and I've seen like historically bad. Like Monday night, the block field goal. I was with Blake for that. I think I'm cursed.
And he just picked us to go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I actually
Stay home this year.
have tickets for that Cincinnati game on Thursday night for the home
oh
opener.
boy.
So really sorry,
We
guys.
can't lose that second game. Joe Burrow is going to be rookie quarterback, only 2 games in. We cannot lose to that. But in typical Cleveland's history, that's the kind of game
We'll come
Joe
out.
Burrow will throw for like 500 yards against us.
Well,
dice us
that or
up.
we'll come out and we'll win week 1 and like look
And drop that
look
game.
and like, oh my god, we just beat the Ravens. We controlled the whole game.
Big trust what?
Yeah, I mean, and we just dominated them. Then we go and we play Cincinnati and we get beat 12-6.
Joe Burrow carves us up. He's 80% on third down. We can't get off the field. I feel like that happens just all the time. Guy will get rookie of the year just playing against the Browns. Man, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, so what? Playoffs. Zach, what'd you say? Playoffs or no?
Playoffs.
Oh, I said playoffs.
Josh said no.
I said
Josh
playoffs.
just
I
been-
said 9-7.
He's
we get
been
in.
burnt one too many times.
Oh, man, I got the scars.
Oh, me
Oh.
too.
Hopefully, like you said, Blake, that last game of the year, we're resting starters for the playoffs.
Oh, look at you.
That'd be nice.
Oh my goodness.
I think that last game, like I'm looking at that schedule real quick, go back to it one more time. I think going into that, you play Ravens, Giants, Jets, Steelers. I think that last month of the season, depending on our record, you got to hope you're 3-1 in those 4 games. Jets, you got to beat. Giants, you got to beat. And I think that Steelers game, especially if you lose that Ravens game, you're probably that's gonna be a must-win game.
It could be. I mean, if the Steelers have a good year, that with that extra wild card spot, that could be a win and get in.
Yeah, like it almost.
And I really hope it's not because my wife's a Steelers fan, so we'll be watching TVs and like
and a Bama fan and a Yankees fan.
Oh my
it's
God,
the worst.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
You need to talk to her, man.
And every game we've been to 2 because we've been to 2 Yankees Indians games both times. Game 5. A couple of years ago, we were there. Her team won.
Yeah, I
We
remember
talk
that.
about depressing stuff on here. Sorry, everybody.
Well,
Let's move on.
In our defense, there's a lot more depressing stuff than
true.
encouraging stuff to talk about.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
I didn't write the history books for the Browns.
Jump down to that first fan hot take since we're talking about Browns and playoffs.
Okay, let me pull this back up. Okay, so this comes from Ian Murphy, my favorite insurance agent. He says, he posted this on Facebook, Case Keenum will start and win the Browns wild card game due to a season-ending injury to Baker Mayfield.
I hope. I mean, I like that we have Case Keenum, but I hope that's not the scenario.
Well, you know what? If that's the only way we make the playoffs, at least we made the playoffs.
let's do it, yeah.
I don't want to see Baker get hurt at all.
So tell me this. Would you, if I told you Baker doesn't get hurt in that wild card game but we lose, or Baker breaks his ankle in that wild card game but we win with Case Keenum, what are you picking? And watch what you say, because if you say Baker get hurt, I'm going to tell his mom.
Well, this is a team sport, guys. So.
I mean, obviously, I want the playoff win.
Right.
Yeah.
He can rehab, and he's going to be there for his team and rooting them on. He's going to cheer those guys on to victory. I mean, that's very, very. Baker's been durable, like it's extremely durable though. So
he's gotten hit a lot,
and the line is better. Like everything tells me, like for something like that to happen, it's going to have to be a fluke deal.
I think this year too could see him being protected even. First of all, we went from maybe the worst offensive line to
top 5.
Yeah, I mean, our biggest question mark now is right guard. Every other position is either like a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro or Jedrick
Huge
Wills.
high upside,
Yeah, hopefully an All-Star type player. He's going to be running. He's going to hand the ball off 30 times. And when he throws, it's going to be precise.
It's going to be calculated.
Yes, play action, bootleg. It's going to be his strengths. So it's going to take a fluke for him to get hurt.
Well, here, let me toss in one of my other hot takes into this one since we're moving into how Baker's going to be throwing. I said Baker's going to throw 10 or fewer interceptions on this season.
Okay, so this kind of actually ties in. We'll kind of like knock out 2 birds with 1 stone here. Baker becomes the guy again, overcomes the sophomore slump, wakes up feeling dangerous. Are you drinking the Kool-Aid?
Drunk on that Kool-Aid.
I'm drinking that whole pitcher
now, I know
right now.
I just said that I don't get too hyped up now about the Browns, and I'm going to take a more prove-it-to-me attitude. But I've seen this guy just dominate on the football field, and that was with a bad situation his rookie year. So if we get a competent coaching this year, better offensive line, and we're running the ball more, and every throw, like Justin said, is going to be more calculated. They're going to be, higher percentage throws. And Baker is accurate, Blake. He does have that accuracy. So I think the 10 or fewer interceptions is absolutely doable for him.
So,
go ahead.
I do think Baker is going to be fine, but I've pulled up some crazy stats that'll make you think that maybe we're not going to be okay. So
yes, please.
So last year, which like we've said, terrible system. The play calling was awful. The line was awful. He had the worst passer rating of any quarterback when he was not under pressure, which we've talked about that too. Like you said, even when you're not getting hit,
you're under mental pressure.
You think you're seeing ghosts. You're like Sam Darnold, ghost hunter out there.
Yeah, at least he didn't. At least Baker didn't say it.
Right, exactly. So you have that, which that's a really, really scary stat. But then he's also the only quarterback to throw more interceptions than touchdowns when not pressured. The only one that was more. I mean, the other guys were like 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's 6 touchdowns, 10 picks. So is it a fluke of the system? You know what I mean?
I do want to ask, and I know you don't have this stat because I don't know if anyone does, but how many of those interceptions came off the hands of his receivers, though?
My God.
How many of those happened last year?
That's true.
Which is
all the time.
In the end zone, just tip balls just straight back, you know.
I mean, he made a lot of bad throws last year, I know, but there were some that weren't on him.
I'm completely with you, though. I think that he is going to come back fine. I think this system is completely set up for him to be successful.
Mentally, he's not the type of guy that you're not going to get him down.
No.
And
he's
tough.
He's a walk-on guy. All he wants to do is, hey, you don't think I'm that guy? I'll be that guy all day. Yep. Exactly. So, and then if he's not the guy, oh my gosh.
Trevor Lawrence,
Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my only thing. I think we're going to be fine. I really, really do believe that. But last year. But then he had 27 touchdowns and 14 picks the year before with another not great system. But he was successful.
So I got a couple things about this. One, I'm going to start by saying if Baker is going to not be good and he's not the guy, we got to go like 1-15.
Which we won't.
because we need Fields or Trevor Lawrence. So Baker, if you're not going to be good, please be awful. Second, I'm split on this. I think Baker does have a bounce back year, and I think he is very good this year. The 10 interceptions thing to me is a little crazy. Kirk Cousins threw
hot
6.
Take, man.
Kirk Cousins threw 6 last year, and he's a way more conservative quarterback than Baker. I think even in this system, in a way better scheme, he's still got a gunslinger mentality. And I still see he's going to try to, with that stronger arm, he's going to try to put it into some tight windows sometimes. I don't think he throws 20, 25.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I think he throws, I could see 13, 15, somewhere like that. Maybe I'll be wrong.
Yeah, I hope you're wrong. I think right around the 10 mark is probably where he'll end up. I don't think, in my opinion, we're going to throw the ball that much this year. And put him in situations where he's going to have to, we're going to have to go down the field and he's going to throw 13 passes on this drive to try to get a touchdown. Mm-hmm. I just don't think that we're going to put ourselves in a lot of situations like that this year because we're going to control the clock. And even if we, don't score a touchdown, we get a field goal, but we're going to take 4 or 5 minutes off the clock almost on every drive.
Yep.
And I think that that's just a way we are going to have to play too. And I think it's a smart way, especially with our defense. Mm-hmm. Keep them rested, keep them on the field. Okay, get them on there fresh after their opposing team's offense sat for 5 minutes. Now you got Garrett running at you. Hopefully he's our, sack leader of the year. I know that's one of our takes too here. So.
Oh, I can't wait. With Baker, I don't think he's gonna throw less than 10 interceptions. I think it's gonna be a little bit over that. There's times where he'll play great, and then the next week, I remember the Houston game. He comes out and just throws 3 picks before half, and it's and they're all bad decisions. They're all just, right. I'm just going to throw it as hard as I can down the field into, there's, 2 receivers, 3 safeties just hanging out back there, and it's what are we doing?
Right.
So, and also, I don't, in that system, I think if he comes off and does something like that, I think coach is hey, what are you doing? What is going on right now,
Here's another thing. With the system last year with Freddie.
Let's use air quotes when we say the word system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From now on.
Yeah. Okay. So when we're talking about that, how much is that as a player if you're a quarterback and that you're calling that you try to do too much because what is gonna get called next, or you're afraid all right, hey, we really gotta try to push the ball down the field this time because we're already down 2 touchdowns and
right.
If I don't complete this pass, we're gonna be running halfback pass next.
that type stuff. So I don't know. I guess I could see maybe a little bit of that. I hope he bounces
I get it.
back.
I saw so many bad things about last year. I saw that Freddie would have them it'd be we're gonna run the ball 75% all week. And then they would get to game day and they'd walk in and he'd completely change the playbook and it would be a complete a 75% pass.
Psych.
Yeah. And he was the smartest guy in the room. He had to be the smartest guy in the room always.
He always had to be Mr. Innovative. And
yes.
We got maybe a 3-point lead in the fourth quarter and Chubb doesn't come on the field one time.
Right.
What is going on?
Well, and the direct reflection of penalties. Myles Garrett punching a guy the first game
Yeah, it was bad.
That guy researches dinosaurs when he's not playing. Are you kidding me right now? Like, that guy punched a guy. That guy hit a guy with a helmet. Like, there was just no discipline at all. That team.
No.
Speaking of lack of system last year and the incoming new system, some things why I think Baker does have a bounce back type season. I looked up some of Baker's stats out of certain situations. Play action passing, okay, as a rookie, used it 23.3% of the time over the final half of his rookie season, had a 73% completion percentage, fourth in the NFL out of play action. The next year, last year, he had an 83% completion percentage out of play action. We're going to throw play action a lot, okay, a lot. And you don't even have to run the ball that much to go play action this year because everybody thinks we're going to run the ball a lot. And then he had 9 of his 22 touchdowns last year were off play action throws, third in the league. And his passer rating last season was 78.8 on play action pass attempts, which was 36 points higher than when not on play action passes. So why didn't we run more play action?
Well, and
Because we had to be smarter than everybody.
For this year, the tight ends coach.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what position really benefits you to have a good player in play action? Tight end. And we've got one now. We might even have 2, and I'm not counting Njoku.
I was going to say we might have 3, depending. Who knows?
Also, 12 and 13 personnel, which I don't know for all you guys who aren't as...
Yeah, explain that.
Yeah, that's when you have multiple tight ends on the field, 2 tight end, 3 tight end, that kind of thing. Nobody was more successful in 12 and 13 personnel last year than the Browns. They 145 snaps. He was second in the league with 29 pass attempts out of 13 personnel. So he tried it the most, and he had 69% completion percentage, averaged 11.1 yards per throw on that. So why it's clearly our best formation to throw out of. It's our best option, and we only did it 145 times.
I don't know.
You know,
I
like
have no answer for that.
we only did it 8 times a game or something?
Well, and we didn't have the most. I mean, you talking about those extra tight ends and everything. We didn't have talented tight ends. I mean, some of the best touchdowns Baker threw last year went to Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
It's just all of a sudden he's open and he's a monster when he gets the ball in his hands. It's just that's the hard part.
And so what's encouraging about Stefanski coming in then, 54% of the time the Vikings were in 2 tight end set last year. Cousins had 243 dropbacks out of 12 and 13 personnel, leading to a passer rating of 105, 13 touchdowns, 4 picks. In 12 personnel last year, Mayfield had 105 rating, 44 of 75 with 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So what Baker clearly does the best, that's what Stefanski's bringing over. I think that's a huge reason why he could have a bounce-back season.
Well, remember, who'd Baker throw to a lot in college?
Oh, Mark Andrews.
Exactly. So, and all right, this transitions real nice into another hot take of mine real quick was that Austin Hooper's going to lead the entire league in tight end touchdowns. So he'll have more touchdowns than Travis Kelce, George Kittle, Zach Ertz. Each one of them will be less than Hooper.
It's a lot to add.
Throw it at me, guys. Come on.
I think the guy who's to be honest, that's going to lead the NFL in touchdowns, tight ends I think it's going to be Mark Andrews. I think
he did last year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be him. But I do think Cooper. I'll put him in my top 3. I think in the red zone.
I think this is a marriage.
They're going to sell out inside the 10, but really inside the 5. Teams are going to know that Chubb's going, they're going to want to get Chubb the ball. And it's just, Hooper, just throw it up to him.
So, of those guys last year, the 3, Kelce, Ertz, and Kittle that you named off, Hooper was tied or better than all those guys as far as touchdowns. So, he had 6, Kelce had 5, Ertz had 5, Ertz had 6, Kittle had 5. The only guys that were higher off were Mark Andrews with 10 and then Jared Cook with 9 in New Orleans. My only argument with Hooper for this, and I like with Atlanta as far as what his stats were last year, Atlanta was not good, and they threw the ball a lot. So was he not like I do think he's going to get great opportunities. I think he fits perfect with what they're going to try to do, but was his success part of Atlanta's not being successful, or tight end is such like a a crazy position, I don't know. Like, I'm not drafting him in fantasy over Kelsey. I'm probably not. I'm not drafting him over Kittle. You know what I mean?
So, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, that's true, but I mean, not to take a huge detour into fantasy, but you gotta draft those guys early.
Yeah. Or just hope that,
Hooper could be that value this year.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's the worst position every year in fantasy. Just, oh, look at this guy that I have that isn't going to give me any protection.
Right. I'm excited for fantasy football now.
Absolutely. Me too.
So I'm a little bit of a flip-flopper on this. At first, I was like, no way. We're not going to throw the ball enough for him to do that. But Kyle Rudolph had 6 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
And I'm looking in there, Irv Smith had 2. So I'm looking at stats. Kirk Cousins threw the ball 444 times last year. 75 of those passes were to tight ends. So almost, like a little under a fourth of his pass attempts went to tight ends last year. So even with not throwing the ball a ton, Hooper might get a majority of the tight end looks. And it doesn't sound like 6 touchdowns really isn't that many. That's only 1 every 3 games.
Yeah, so the only thing here, I'm going to kind of change the question here for a second. So let's say instead of Hooper leads the NFL in touchdowns, how about the Browns lead the NFL in touchdowns from the tight end position? Because we got 3 guys that are all going to be, Harrison Bryant, I think he's going to be used. Mm-hmm. And then you got Njoku still and Hooper. You got 3 guys that if Harrison Bryant has a touchdown back-to-back weeks and it would have been a Hooper look, now it kind of takes away from his, production in the red zone. I don't know.
Who led the league last year? Who was it? How many did you say?
Andrews had
Mark Andrews with 10.
10. Last year, Rudolph and Smith combined for 8. Okay, so based on what Zach, I think there's a better chance, like Zach said, that the Browns' tight end position leads the league over just Hooper, mostly because of temps, and we have three tight ends that I think are going to get a lot of looks.
Yeah, and like they always say, follow the money, right? Mm-hmm. So Hooper got paid, and Njoku's option got picked up, and they drafted Harrison Bryant with a decent, draft capital.
Right.
Tight end's going to be used.
And I know Josh and Justin, you guys were both big on Bryant taking that tight end.
Yep.
So I could see the Browns tight ends having huge years.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. Well, it looks like we got one more listener.
Yeah.
Hot take.
So this is coming from Ethan Lumsick out of Dover. He said Chubb and Hunt both have 1K all-purpose yards. To me, I think that's pretty low. I think potentially Chubb has 2,000 all-purpose yards by himself.
I could see that.
I could see that too, but I know Zach's got a hot take rolled inside a hot take here.
Yeah.
Oh man!
If Hunt lasts the whole season, I could see it. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Hunt plays the first 2 games, looks like he's having a great year. Then all of a sudden, he has another incident in a hotel, or
gets pulled over with something he ain't supposed to have.
Because it's not like he'd be suspended for a week. No, if that happens, he's pretty much done for the whole year. He's not going to get that leash of we'll give you a week.
You're always thinking the worst of people. You're such a pessimist.
I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Okay, we
had 27 years of Josh Gordon. Okay,
yeah.
He's had what? Yeah,
tight
one
ends
incident
that crash their motorcycles into stuff.
Yeah. Has he gotten in trouble since?
Well, yeah, he had the incident in the hotel with the female, and then he did get pulled over with I think some type of paraphernalia.
But he didn't get in any trouble for that, did he?
I don't know how he didn't get any trouble
because it wasn't. They said it wasn't his car.
Yeah,
the laws are changing.
It was the fact that it happened, man. It's a trend.
Cleveland Browns cop or whatnot, fan or whatnot.
Here's the thing. I don't know if you guys. They're not testing for weed anymore.
Right.
So
Josh Gordon's rollover is great.
Yeah, a lot of suspensions and stuff are weed related.
So we're going to see fewer injuries this year?
Oh, maybe.
Different rehabbing.
Yeah.
Playing through pain.
They're going to be living in Palm Beach at a hotel. Trying
like
to get
Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
Now, hey, if they both stay healthy, I think, because, that's really not asking for a lot. I think Chubb does it, even if he has to miss a game or two, that Chubb's going to get over that. And I could see Hunt having, 600 yards rushing, 400 yards receiving. I just don't think that I mean.
Yeah, I can see
that's
that. I can
too
see
much.
this happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're both healthy and on the field all season, even if Chubb misses a game
Right.
and plays
Yeah.
15, he's easily over 1,000 all-purpose. He'll be over 1,000 rushing.
I'm going to be crazy and throw another hot take inside of this hot take of this hot take. I think there's a particular Cleveland Browns running back. His name's Jim Brown. He's just had this record that's just been hanging around for a while. I think Chubb's going to break the Cleveland Browns record this year.
Do you know what that is off the top of your head?
1,863 yards.
Ooh, man.
That's a lot of yards.
It's a lot.
He had almost 15 last year.
And could have had more.
And could have had
it was
more.
like 2 games.
Yeah,
He didn't
that
get the
game I was
ball.
in Cincinnati, and it rained the whole time, and just I watched OBJ run up and down the sideline the whole time. Nobody ever did anything.
Nick Chubb could, and this is not Brown's homer. Like, this is just eye test watching him. He could easily be the best running back in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I've watched Saquon play. He's awesome. Zeke's great.
Yep.
Chubb is just different, though.
I feel like he's disrespected.
Very
Everybody
disrespected.
talks about him as, Nick Chubb's a really solid back. No, Nick Chubb's
The
top
He's
3
so
back.
quiet.
He
I feel
plays
like-
on the Browns, and
Yeah.
he does not bring any attention to himself.
None.
No.
That dude doesn't say a word.
I was shocked when he even put that Instagram thing out where he was like, the night is darkest before the dawn. I'm like, oh, man, this guy I didn't even know he had social media.
I remember somebody asked him, like, why don't you ever post on Instagram or anything? And he said, do you ever see a Lamborghini commercial?
Yeah.
He's like, you don't have to promote luxury. People just know about it.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And
So he knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
to me, I was screaming for the Browns. I wanted Saquon Barkley so bad. When he was in college, I was like, and Saquon's really good. I kind of hate him for taking Rookie of the Year from Baker when I thought
Injury
Baker
prone
should have
a
had
little
it.
bit.
But he gets a lot of his yards on big chunk plays.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Trust me. I know. Fantasy.
Yeah, he'll have a 40-yard run,
And then
his next
1
4
yard.
runs are 1 yard or negative. And then it looks, hey, he's got 5 rushes for
Yeah,
40 yards.
he's
for
averaging
45
20
yards.
yards a carry.
Yeah, but no, if you take out his one long run, he's averaging 1 yard a carry. Chubb doesn't do that.
No, I mean, you could be watching a Browns game, and Chubb could be getting stuffed, and all of a sudden it's the end of the game, and he had 20 carries for 130 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when did that happen?
Yeah, and he's definitely one of his biggest things. I know he had one really bad game last year, but ball security. You don't see him losing the ball a lot, except for that New England
I was
Patriots
going to say the
game.
Patriots game. Yeah.
Oh
that
my
was
God.
a
That
bad
was a
game
nasty
altogether.
game,
that was
though.
just
I don't know how anybody held on the ball in that one.
no. It was crazy. The game ended and it was like still
I
close.
think I'm pretty
We were
sure he
right
went
there.
from like having gloves on, then he took his gloves off,
Yeah.
and put one glove back on.
So do we think that they're? I mean, going back to the original, or do they both go over 1,000?
Yes.
I say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I do
To me,
too.
Easily.
Yep.
Easy.
Because the thing is, if anyone goes over 1,000 receiving yards, it's going to be Odell, and that's going to be it. So I think the rest of these yards are going to come from these running backs. These guys
yeah.
have the potential to do that over 1,000 yard.
And Hunt had 446 or 464 all-purpose yards just in the 8 that he played, and he really
They
He
didn't
didn't
wasn't
use him.
utilized.
He was a fullback.
right.
Yeah.
Freddie was calling Wishbone like he was Pop Warner or something.
Yeah, it was like my middle school offense of a wingback.
Yeah, I thought Mike Reniker was calling plays for the Pee Wee Raiders. Dalvin Cook had 1,654 all-purpose yards last year, rushing and receiving. And did he miss it for games for injury?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
the
was
end
out.
of the year.
He had shoulder problems.
Mm-hmm.
towards
So-
the end there.
He misses. So he had 250 rush attempts. How many did Chubb have last year? Do we know? Maybe not.
I don't know. We could look it up.
I'm sure he had more than that. He didn't miss any time.
And the Vikings had a decent rookie. Madison last year wasn't a slouch. He had some looks too. So
So
The Vikings were a good team.
yeah. Chubb. I mean, Dalvin Cook accidentally almost got 2K by himself.
Yeah.
yeah, the only thing that, on Justin's hot take of the Jim Brown record, if Hunt is having a good year,
Yep.
and he's producing, you gotta keep giving him the ball some. Like if Chubb's killing it, but you don't want to burn him out either. You want Chubb to be fresh, and you got to keep Hunt interested in playing, because how many times do we see that, the guy's not playing, or he's not getting the ball a lot, so he's not 100% motivated to want to go out there and try to break a big run.
This conversation to me just says that we're going to have a good running game. I mean, Honestly, it doesn't matter if they both get 1,000 yards or not. I mean, I know for the hot take sake of things, I mean, this is great, but I love that we're even having this conversation.
Right.
Yeah, we could be talking about what game do we win next year,
Or who's going to be our running back?
yeah, or quarterback, or receiver, or any of these guys.
Thank God, we're not doing that.
To piggyback off this a little bit, what you said earlier, how you didn't think Odell was going to make it through the season, I can make the argument Hunt isn't on the Browns at the end of the year.
I could see
Yeah.
that.
And not even because of a distraction or gets in trouble. What if we get 3-4 games in and Chubb is just on like MVP type pace? And Hunt has been good when he's in there, but he's not going to get the opportunity. I think we trade him.
Josh has said this before. One of those guys are not going to be there eventually.
And Chubb better be there.
And it better be
Chubb will be
Chubb
the
will be
one.
there. Chubb
Yeah.
will be there just on contract, on his rookie contract. But
Having Hunt right now is a luxury. I mean, we got him because he messed up,
yep,
and that's
and
it.
we took a risk. That was
Yeah,
it.
Chubb is
Dorsey
here
reached
because
out.
he has absolutely earned it.
Yep.
You're not going to have two running. Kareem Hunt's not going to want to stick around if he's not getting the options. He's going to want to get paid eventually. Running backs don't exactly have a long shelf life in the NFL. So, I mean, if we're 3-4 games in, Nick Chubb is leading the league in rushing, and he's getting 25 carries a game, and Hunt's only getting 5 carries a game, maybe catching a couple passes, I could see Hunt being like, hey, guys, I appreciate the opportunity, but can I go somewhere where I'm going to get the ball a little bit?
Well, and the other thing is Mike, okay, instead of just letting Hunt walk because you don't want to pay him money, you could get something for him too.
Yeah,
Right.
what is this the last year of his deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
You could get something.
Yeah, I'm with Blake
valuable.
on this. I could see this happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
very real possibility. The only thing that sucks is I don't know what you'll get for him.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a
if
third
he's
rounder
not-
for Duke Johnson,
Yeah.
but Bill O'Brien's an idiot.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He just traded away DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
And got David Johnson in his wheelchair.
A nice wheelchair, though, right?
It is.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think Nick Chubb has a huge year. If Hunt's on the team the whole year, I think they'd definitely go over 1,000.
Well, I would say if anybody else, listening has their own hot takes or anything inspired them out of this conversation, send it to us. Put it on Facebook or whatever, and we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys heard, but I'm fresh out of ideas for episodes. So give us some ideas here, and we'll argue about it. It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Well-
We got training camp coming up soon, hopefully. So
Hopefully. I've been listening to a lot of stuff about like the virtual training camps and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And man, that
we'll have to do an episode about how that might affect at least the start of the season.
hopefully they have a training camp that fans can go to.
I'm
at
not
all.
looking for it, dude. Not looking for it.
I don't think so, but man, we'll take this show on the road. Hey, Joe Thomas, why don't you come over here and tell us about the Titan games?
Yeah.
If we do,
He's been
if
killing
training
it.
camp is in person, we will try to find a way to do this podcast live from training camp somehow,
be so
some way.
awesome.
That would be awesome. I don't think they're going to let people in the building or in the facility, but we'll see.
All right, well, hey guys, that was awesome. I think you guys are nuts for thinking Odell's not going to be on the team. I think, honestly, just if you weren't such good friends, I'd call you idiots. I want to thank everybody listening out there. Episode 4. This was a super fun episode for us to do. Hopefully you guys like it. Again, if you're having problems with the link on Facebook, just go straight to YouTube. We're going to try to get it figured out, hopefully before this even comes out. Catch us on Instagram. Catch us on Facebook, obviously. Zach, do you ever get our Twitter working?
We will have a new Twitter page up this week.
My man.
So we're going to be older than 13 years old, right,
Yeah,
for this?
we'll be
Okay.
older.
13 days old.
Maybe I'll make it like the day the Browns organization
Started.
or
There you
something.
go.
We'll do
Hey.
something like that. But yeah, we'll be pushing that out this week. Follow us. We'll be pushing content on there all the time.
Yep. Make sure when you guys, if you get to YouTube and you have an account, subscribe, hit that bell. That way you get notifications when we post new episodes. If we can get up to 100 subscribers, we can start taking this thing real legit. It should be pretty awesome. We appreciate everybody listening, and we'll catch you guys next week.